Hi everybody, welcome you all to online course in spoken English. Today we are going to discuss a new topic. Before I announce the topic for you, we shall consider a few sentences here, right? I will pronounce the sentences differently, okay? I am an engineer is a sentence and I would pronounce this as I am an engineer, okay? Then she is a doctor and I would pronounce it as she is a doctor. And next sentence is I will help you and I'll pronounce this as I'll help you. He would come here tomorrow. This is the next sentence and I would say he'd come here tomorrow. Next sentence is I want to go to library and I pronounce this as I want to go to library. And the last sentence is he is going to speak on the topic and I would say it as he's gonna speak on the topic. Did you notice the difference between the sentences that I pronounced first and then I pronounced it with little modification, right? I hope you have understood this. Instead of saying I am an engineer, I said I am an engineer. I and am, I put together, I contracted them and I said it as I'm. And then she is a doctor. She and is put together, she is a doctor. And then I will help you. I and will put together formed I'll help you. Right? He would come here tomorrow. He would come here tomorrow. He and would he'd come here tomorrow. Right? I want to go to library. Want to. I want to became wanna. I wanna go to library. Right? And then he's gonna speak on the topic. Gonna means going to. He's going to speak. He's gonna speak on the topic. Right? So what are these? These are the contracted forms. Okay, these are called contractions in English. So contractions and slangs are the most striking features of spoken English. Okay, and these contractions and slangs are frequently used in English speech, and it is one of the hallmarks of English speech, we can say. And what are these contractions? And you have a very rough idea of contractions by the examples that I gave you in the beginning. So contractions are shortened form of a word or a group of words. Okay, we put the words together and we contract them and they are formed contractions. They are called, such formations are called contractions, right? A few letters are omitted. In this few letters, for example, when I said he would come, I omitted he, I wrote he, he, and would I removed woul. I retained only apostrophe d. So a few letters are omitted and group of words contracted is read as one single word. He and would were two different words, right? When I contracted them, I read them as he would. I did not read them as he would. I read them as he'd. It is read as a single word. Okay, the words thus contracted are put together and read as single word. And omission of words is indicated by the apostrophes. He would. It becomes he'd, he, and apostrophe d, he'd. Okay, and then a common feature of it is a very common feature of spoken English, spoken language for that matter. And contractions are usually made up of auxiliaries, verbs, and modals in combination with other words. And as the session progresses, you will understand how the contractions are formed and how do they function and the importance of contractions. Right now, let's have a discussion on the importance of these contractions. Why are contractions needed? Okay, why are they very much important when it comes to spoken English? Okay, when we use contractions, our speech flows smoothly. For the smooth flow of a speech, contractions are necessary. When I say I'd help you, it flows. The speech flows. If I say I would help you, and you feel that there is, it is stuck up here and there, and it is not free flowing, right? And he is an engineer. He's an engineer. She is a doctor. When I say he is an engineer and you find the flow is obstructed, but when I say he is an engineer, she is a doctor, there is a free and smooth flow of words, right? And it makes us sound more friendly and accommodating because contractions are used in informal context, and informal context are symbolic of friendliness and accommodating, right? These contractions make us more friendly, accommodating, and they bring the people nearer to us, right? And they also enable us understand the conversation easily and effectively. whenever a person uses contractions and slangs, it is very easy to understand him. And if he is making use of the words separately, and he is not contracting them, and he is being very formal, it is very difficult to comprehend, right? And then without them, we appear to be non-native speakers, because we will be emphasizing every word. See, contractions are used not to emphasize anything and for the smooth flow of speech. If I say, I will help you, I sound that I'm a non-native speaker, and I'm not very good at English, and I don't have the feel of the language, right? If I say, I'll help you, I sound to be a native speaker. In the absence of their use, we give the impression that we are emphasizing what we are trying to say. And let me make it clear with the help of a few examples here. I don't like him. Okay, it's a casual remark. I don't like him. It's a casual remark. You're not stressing anything. You're not emphasizing anything. If you say, I do not like him, you're emphasizing. It carries, see, this carries a lot of emotions. It might be, it might, bring up your hatred towards the person. It shows that you are angry with the person, and saying it shows that you are saying something with a very heavy heart. Okay, so whenever we do not use contractions, it gives the impressions that we are emphasizing something, and it brings out a lot of emotions. Okay, that is the impression people get when I use language without contracting wherever necessary. Let me give you one more example. I have warned you. Let me make a casual remark first. I warned you time and again. I've warned you time and again. Okay, this is a casual remark. I have told you, I have reminded you, I have given you warnings again and again. Right? This is a casual remark. If I have warned you time and again, you are stressing it, you are emphasizing it, you are not happy with the person. So it brings out a lot of emotions, and you might not be intending them to say. So that is the reason you need to use contractions when you don't need to be very emphatic. Then in dialogues, in novels and plays, you can see the contractions reflect the mindset or attitude of the characters. See, whenever the character says something, these contractions say. If a character is saying a sentence with contractions, it is delivering a dialogue with contractions, it's a casual remark. If it is not contracting and it is emphasizing every word, the emotions and the mindset and attitude of the character is brought out there. Fine. So these are all the some of the uses of contractions, or this is where the contractions need to be used, and contractions contribute to the fluency. Okay, and in this particular session, this is more about practice, oral practice. You need to train your ear and tongue. Okay, you need to twist your tongue, and you have to, you should be in a position to pronounce the words when put in contractions. Then only it will make the impact intended. Okay, right? When and where not to use contractions, let us say, and you cannot use contractions wherever you want. There are some cases where you should not use contractions at all. Let us see where not to use contractions or when not to use contractions, right? In formal, not informal, in formal and academic writing, avoid using contractions. You are writing a formal letter, you are writing a letter to your officer or the boss, or you are giving a speech in a formal setting, don't use contractions, right? In academic writing, for instance, you are writing your research paper and you don't need to use contractions. So contractions should not be used in formal and academic writing. That is one. And the next one is, if you want to be more emphatic, actually if you want to be more emphatic, you want to stress something and you want to display emotion, some emotion is running through you and you want to put it out, you want to show it to the people, then you should not use contractions. Contractions are meant for casual speech, right? And then if there is no extra information after the contraction, you should not use it. Let me give you a few examples here. Have you talked to him? This is the question, right? Have you talked to him? Yes, I've. It is incorrect, because after I've, there is no extra information. You have to use contractions only if you have extra information to give. Yes, then in that case what you have to say, if the question is asked, have you talked to him? Yes, I have. That's right. Or else if at all you want to add extra bit of information, then you can use the contraction. Yes, I've talked to him. Yes, I've talked to him. That's right. Okay. Let me give you one more example. Are you ready? This is the question, right? Are you ready? This is the question. Yes, I am. That is right. Yes, I am. If you say yes, I am, that is wrong, because you are using contraction without giving any extra information after the contraction. That's wrong. You can say, either you can say yes, I am, or if at all you want to use contraction, you have to say yes, I am ready. So what is the point here? If there is no extra information after the contraction, no need to use the contraction. Contraction should not be used if there is no extra bit of information after the contraction, right? And there is one exception, and you should remember this also. Contractions can be used in negatives even when there is no extra bit of information. Okay, contractions should not be used if there is no extra bit of information. That is for positive sentences. If the sentences are negative, okay, in negatives you can use them. This is an exception. Okay, we shall take an example here. Will you come along? This is the question, right? Will you come along? Will you come with me? That is okay. No, I won't. See, I won't. Will plus not becomes won't. It can be contracted as won't. I won't. Because it is in the negative, even if there is no extra information, you can use the contraction. No, I won't. No, I won't. Do you like coffee? That is the question. No, I don't. In negatives, what happens is, even if there is no extra information, you can say I don't. So contractions now, we shall come to contractions proper. So this is the background to contractions, right? Now we shall discuss what are contractions. Contractions with I, you, he, she, it, we and they. Okay. First one is am. That is I'm. You can say I'm. It is not I am. I am a man. No, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm an engineer. Not I am an engineer. I'm an engineer. Then are. Are. That is are. That is you're, where, there. You're a great man. You're a great man. We're students. Where. Not we are. It is where. We're students. You're a great man. There. Not they are. They are children. They are children. They are children. So try to contract them. As I have already told you, you need to train. Is. Right. Next one is and has. The contraction is same. She is. SHE apostrophe S. She's. It means both. She is and she has. So she is. She's. She has. She's. Both the same. Pronunciation is same. Okay. He's. She's. It is. Okay. And have is there next. Of. Have. HAV have. I have. I've. You have. You will. You will. I have completed my work. You have gone to market. We have. We have is we've. We have gone to market. We've gone to market. Right? We've gone to market. We have finished our work. They have finished their duty. They've finished their duty. Right? Ill. I will. Okay. I will. You will. He will. He'll. She will. She'll. It will. It'll. Okay. We will. They will. Ill. Just use ill. Right? And then id. That is, it is both for would and had. Had and would. For example, if I say I had and I would, they both take I apostrophe D. I'd. Remember this. I'd. I had and I would. I'd. You would and you had. You'd. Okay. I'd. You'd. He'd. He would and he had. He'd. She would and she had. She'd. It would and it had. It'd. Okay. We would and we had. We'd. They would and they had. They'd. These are the contractions, and don't worry, you will get all these contractions by practice. Okay. In the next session, we shall discuss each of these contractions with many examples, so that you can train your ear and also tongue, right? And you listen to me carefully and you try producing then and there. Then you will get acquainted with these contractions. Thank you all.